Hi team. There are two different methods of setting permissions in Linux, numeric and symbolic. For this video, I would like to discuss how we can add permissions in Linux using symbolic method. Then we do a long list. We see a different information. We see the permissions, we see the file owner, the group owner, the date that was created, and the file name. The first column of 10 characters. So the first symbol indicates if this is a dash, that means we're talking about the file. If it would be a directory instead of dash, we would see a letter D. So the first column is divided by groups of 3. So the first 3 characters are the permissions of the owner of the file. In our case, it's a test user, and the test user has read, write, and execute permissions. The second 3 characters are permissions for the group, and the test group has read and execute permissions. And the third column is for everybody else who does not belong to test user or test group. And in our case, everybody else does not have any permissions. To assign permissions, we would need to use user group or others, and we would need to put the equal sign and the permissions that we want. R stands for read, W stands for write, and X stands for execute. So in this case, we would assign read, write, and execute permissions to the user. This means we would assign read and execute to the group and nothing to everybody else. So we just need to leave it blank. So the command to add permissions calls chmod, which stands for change mod, and the template for change chmod is change mod and then options and then permissions and the file name. So for example, to add read, write, and execute for the user, the template would be chmod user plus read, write, and execute and the file.txt. Okay, so now let's go to our terminal and let's create a test directory for this exercise. We will use make dir command and test directory. Let's cd into it. Let's create a test file, touch file.txt. So let's confirm the file's been created, ls-l, and we see that the default permissions has been added to the file.txt. So now I'm going to give the user owner read, write, and execute permissions, then the group owner read and execute, and other will get no permissions. So let's type in chmod user equals to read, write, and execute, comma, group equals to read and execute, comma, and others will have no permissions, so we'll leave it blank, and then file.txt. Let's press enter, let's confirm ls-l, and we see that the permissions has been changed. Symbolic mode often requires more typing, but some think that it's easier to understand. One of the major advantages of symbolic mode is that you can add a subtract permissions. The reason this is so useful is that we don't have to know the current permissions to add or take away. With numeric mode, we would have to get the current permissions and then recalculate the desired permissions. So let's take execute permissions away from the group. Let's type in chmod space group -x file.txt and hit enter, and let's confirm ls-l, and we see that permission has been subtracted. You can also group the positions. For instance, if you wanted to take away the execute for user group another, we could type in chmod user group and others -x file.txt and hit enter, and let's confirm -l, and we see nobody has an execute permissions. For all we can also specify a for all positions, which would include user, owner, group owner, and others. Let's type in chmod a-x file.txt, but since we already removed the x, it would be the same ls-l. Okay, for more information about the chmod command, you can check out the man page by typing in man space chmod and hit enter. Okay, this is all for this video. Thank you very much. Bye.